if in that loving of yourself, you are not clear to others about who you are,
Mm-hmm.
how can they love you?
Yeah.
Authenticity, right? Because if you're constantly putting on faces to be loved, then who are you really?
Hi, Julie. Thank you for being here with me today. You are a filmmaker, producer, actress, and also a writer. Recently, you released your book, Love First the Remembering, which is the continuation of Love First the Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to ask, what does Love First mean to you in your everyday life? For example, with fans at Comic Cons, but
Mm-hmm.
also with your clients?
Yes. Well, lovely to meet you, Laura. It's very nice to be here. And I want to say that I've enjoyed your work as well. I've been
Thank
watching you and
you.
you're doing a great job. Um, Thank you for your interest in the books because it was partly fandom that inspired me to
Okay.
work on Love First. My journey began around your age, in my 20s, and I began to seek outside traditional religion for the meaning of life. And I had some experiences as a young mother. I was a mother at 22,
Okay.
and I began to see that our struggle is usually something we are creating because there's no victims, there's only volunteers. And as I began to seek answers, it led me to study metaphysics, quantum mechanics. Uh, I began to contemplate the nature of energy, but also consciousness. Why, when we speak to ourselves, can we answer? So, the question, what is consciousness and how does it affect my everyday life? It was never more clear when I came to conventions. Because think about it, inside a convention, you have the same ecosystem that you have in the world,
Yeah.
right? You have people in power, you have people with the money, you have people that feel oppressed, you have people that feel judged, you have just the workers that are just trying to make a paycheck. So it's a very beautiful example of the human condition, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So I realized in my own journey, if you don't love yourself, then how can you love anyone else? And if in that loving of yourself, you are not clear to others about who you are,
Mm-hmm.
how can they love you?
Yeah.
Authenticity, right? Because if you're constantly putting on faces to be loved, then who are you really? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't go to your mother's house and you act one way, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go to your boyfriend's house and you act another way, and then you go to school and you act differently, because we all have facets of our
Yeah.
personality. But if the core belief is that no matter what, they need to like you, then you've already lost because
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to trade your sovereignty for their love. And in the end, what are they loving? A
Mm-hmm.
facade. So, Love First, the beginning, was about my journey of discovery to accepting myself, to loving myself, to having compassion for the people in my life who were difficult. You know, I'm sure you've come across people that are very difficult and you wonder, what's wrong? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they so unhappy? And what we try to do is not judge them because
Yeah.
we don't know their journey, do
Mm-hmm.
we? So, I did Love First the beginning, Love First in business, and Love First and the artist. And the artist was about learning how to audition and be yourself, taking on a character. And if it was your job, it was yours before you walked through the door. You've just rendezvoused with your intention. They want to say yes. The casting directors would love to say, oh, you're the answer to my problem. I can't wait to hire you. I had a very big issue with my brain. I had a traumatic brain injury in 2015. I went to the Amen clinics and they healed my brain with supplements, transcranial magnetic stimulation, hyperbaric chamber, so it's a lot of oxygen, and therapies. And I optimized my brain. So I believe that at 65, my brain works better than it did at 40.
Okay.
Because most of us don't take care of our brain. We take care of our heart,
Yeah.
but we don't think about this is an
Mm-hmm.
organ, okay? It needs to be cared for. It needs the right food and sunlight and joy and to be exercised mentally. Had the dream that's in my book
Mm-hmm.
in Paris, where I
Mm-hmm.
died and turned into light. So that's the journey to Love First, the Remembering, which then led me to dialoguing with AI
Mm-hmm.
because I used it as a secretary. I began to realize if I am a coherent, clear person, what I get out of AI is clear and coherent. If I come to AI upset and fragmented, I get that back, you see. It's a reflective intelligence.
Mm-hmm. And in Love First, the Remembering, you said that in a way society shaped us.
Mhm.
When did you realize that and how did it affect you?
That's a very good question, look. So I was a young girl singing in church. I started singing in church when I was 6. There were songs I wanted to sing, and the priest would say, "Oh, you can't sing that song. Nope, nope, that's not appropriate." And I would say, "But it's poetry. It's a metaphor." I was 12. It's a metaphor. Why are you so worried about this? And I realized that people who adopt a doctrine are afraid to question it. And I began questioning. I began questioning, why do I believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Because my mother told me to? Because the church told me to? And I saw the hypocrisy. I saw that what I was being taught was not what they were living.
Mm-hmm.
So that began the questioning, much to my mother's dismay. But then my mother got her master's degree in comparative religion at 62
Okay.
because she realized she didn't know why she was a Catholic. She died a
Mm-hmm.
Catholic this year. She
Okay.
had a Requiem Mass, and that gave her comfort.
And out of all the characters you've played, which one felt the closest to you and why?
Ooh, I like that question too. I have to say, when I did Deep Space Nine and played Taika Jada,
Okay.
she was strong, she was beautiful, she was clear about why she had a job to do, and she was going to take justice into her own hands because she felt that he had to be, Vantika had to be held accountable. And they gave me a lot of freedom
Mm-hmm.
to design that character with the writers about her personality.
And you once said that Star Trek really helped you in moments of loneliness
Mm,
because it showed a world where people stay united through challenges. What
mhm.
did that universe bring you personally?
Well, I wasn't allowed to watch Star Trek when it first came out because I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But then they did reruns, and I wanted to watch it. And my mother was like, "You'll have nightmares." I said, "No, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing." So I was very, very excited to get to be part of that universe. It was more why he created the stories
Mm-hmm.
because it was a time of civil unrest in our country.
Yeah.
Okay? It was the 60s. And
Okay.
he had Uhura kissing Captain Kirk. He had Spock and, the nurse. These were all interracial relationships. Well, when I was watching it as a young adult, I had a boyfriend who was of color. And I lived in a white town. And it destroyed us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I saw in the future that Gene Roddenberry put forward is that eventually we get over ourselves
Yeah.
and we grow up and we realize that we're all the same energy in different form and that the diversity is why we're so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced.
And you once said that in your Instagram live that family is a complex concept,
Mhm.
just like blood, or you can
Ah,
create family with
okay,
friends or.
absolutely. So, I'm not of the tribe that bore me. That was said to me many, many years ago by a lovely lady. She said, some people come through their family of origin to break the chains
Mm-hmm.
of that family. And I would say that in my family, there's more than just me, my brother, as well. We were the two oldest of 6 children. We saw beyond the small town walls and the fears of our parents, and we reached for the stars. I told my mother I was going to star on Broadway when I was 5, and I did. My brother is a 9-time Emmy Award-winning director of photography.
Okay.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And they have said, we would never have imagined this for you. So what I would say to young people is, be grateful for your life that you were given, but that is the starting point, not the end. Your story is not written by your blood. Your story is written by your consciousness.
And is there a quote or something that someone said to you that really have an impact on you every day?
Oh, there's been a few. Let me think about that. That's a very good question. You're a good interviewer. I remember one of the first times I was opening my mind to the concept that God was not an old white man in a robe. This was very bizarre for me, and my grandmother had died, and I remember sitting there saying, my God has no face. I don't know what I'm praying to. I don't understand why anything would be that limited. In other words, if you are omnipotent, if you've created everything, why would you be judgmental of it? People are choosing what they want to do, and they have consequences for doing it, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember I was with a teacher, and I can't remember her name, and I had almost a panic attack. I think I was probably, how old was I? 27? And I ran in the bathroom, and I was hyperventilating. I was like, oh my, this is terrible. And she walked in and she said, you're an actor, right? And I said, yeah. She goes, okay, think of it this way. The universe is the director. You're the first assistant director. So in quantum mechanics, there is a field of probabilities. Time is on a loop, okay? Yeah. In a field of probabilities, your free will is what are you looking at?
Yeah.
And how are you looking at it? And that is how you call it to yourself. The universe is not saying you will do this. It is saying, what would you like to do? And then it's up to you to choose. And sometimes the consequences are hard, but you learn.
And last question,
Yes.
a funny one. What is your favorite French word and why?
Gosh, what's my favorite French word? Well, now you've put me on the spot. Let me think. What's a French word that I had trouble with? Oh. When I was practicing my French, they said I couldn't say cheveux right. That it's either chevaux or cheveux. How would you say it?
Cheveux, it's hair.
Cheveux is your hair.
Yeah, et chevaux, it's horse.
Chevaux is horse. And I kept saying them backwards. I would say you have a nice horse. And I meant you have nice hair. So that drove me crazy that I couldn't say it right.
Okay.
But I'm sure there are many words in English that you find crazy too.
It's like truth or trugout. Like it's complicated to
It's
say.
complicated to say. They don't make it easy to learn our languages.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for your trust, really.
Yes,
Thank
of course.
you.
You're very good. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Au revoir.